Hi, welcome to How Can I API. I'm Ayushmann Kumar, and today I'm going to show you how you can interact with an API using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. This tutorial is intended for beginners, people who are just beginning their journey in web development. So first of all, what is an API? So API stands for Application Programming Interface. So what essentially API is that these are some services which you can use by sending some request with a few lines of code. So for example, suppose you have seen in many sites that you get an option to sign in with Google or sign in with Facebook. So these are essentially some services which the website is taking from Google or Facebook for handling their sign in and sign up processes. So today what we are going to see is a sample API service which is provided by the noobschallenge.com, where they provide an API which gives different color when at different pings. That means that whenever we call this particular API or call this particular service, they will give us some random colors or their hex codes. So first of all, go to noobschallenge.com/challenges/export. Okay, so you get this kind of a thing, and you can see what you can do. There's a simple API request like get hexpot, and we will get a response like something like this. So this response is similar to a JavaScript object, or if someone is familiar to Python, it's kind of similar to a Python dictionary. Here it's called a JSON format, JSA only. Okay, so let's get started. First, go to this particular link. This particular link will be provided in the description box and on the Facebook page as well. So first, go to how it works. So when we are into this link, here is a description of what this API essentially is. Now, so this is our particular API. https://api.noobschallenge.com/hexbox. Let me just copy this and paste it on a different tab. You can see that it's essentially giving us a random hex code. This is essentially some color that we will be using in our particular application. There are many other examples of this particular API. Suppose if you write this same thing and then add question mark count equal to 100, what you'll receive is that some random 100 colors. So if I go and paste this, we are getting some random 100 colors hex keys. Cool. So yeah, so just get started. So let me get into my code editor. So I'm using Visual Studio Code. You can choose your favorite IDE, or you can do it on Notepad. So yeah, first I'm going to create a file. I'm gonna call it index.html. So in this index.html, I'm gonna create a basic HTML template. So firstly I'm gonna go and get my jQuery CDN. So I'm going to go on Google and write jQuery CDN. I'll go to this link, and then I'll choose the latest jQuery. I'm gonna choose, so it was minified. I need to copy this particular link. So yeah, so I'll copy this to clipboard and I'll paste it here. Once it's pasted, jQuery will be imported, right? So now let's write our jQuery. So we will need a script tag for that. Cool. And to call the API, we need to write $sign dot get JSON, $sign dot get JSON, and within this we'll be adding our API. Cool. Now our API was this is our API link, right? So yeah, we will paste it here, and then we'll write function and data. So now this data is essentially the response that we are getting from this API. So the response that we are getting here is random 100 values, and for the example API that I have chosen, for that we are getting a response like this, something like this, right? So there are colors, and then there is a list or an array, and the first object of the array is also kind of an object, and then it has got a key value, and the value of this key is some random hex key. Cool. So yeah, so let's get here, and so let's console log our data. First of all, console log our data, and let's see what we are getting. So I'm starting a live server here. You can directly open your index.html file. So yeah, so we are getting an object which has some attribute color, and which has whose first value, the digit value, is a object in itself, and then the value of this particular thing is some random hex key. Cool. So yeah, so now let's just get this particular value out of this whole object. So what we will do here is console.log data. So our data has something known as colors, right? zeroth object, zeroth list value we are taking, and there we are going to write intellect dot value. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, so we are getting this particular thing. You see? Yeah, fine. So yeah, let's close this tab. Okay. So yeah, once we get this, now let's use this on some application. So I'm creating a div with an ID box. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna paint this box using the color that I fetched from my API, right? So let me add some styles to this. So I'm gonna add box, and I'm gonna write here height of 100 pixels and width of 100 pixels. Cool. So yeah, so our box is now having a height and a width of 100 pixels each. So yeah, so now what we'll do that we will use our JavaScript to get that particular element. So we'll write suppose a is equal to, or var a is equal to document but get element by ID, and our ID here is box, right? Now I'll do a dot style dot background color is equal to this particular value. So background color will be this, right? Now when we save this, so what we are getting is some random color here, right? This particular hex code. Now when I refresh this page, I'm gonna get a different color. And the times that I'll refresh this page, I'll get a different color at every particular call. So yeah, this was the basics of calling an API. The challenges has 5 APIs that we have provided, and there are 2 bonus APIs. So this is the process that you need to follow to call a particular API. And yeah, so all the very best. And if you want to try this particular code example, so the code and this particular link will be provided in the description box. Please have a look.